What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be going over a trading update as well as an overall market update. And we're going to be briefly talking about why conserving capital is very important when we are trading stocks, right? This is something that is super important to be a long-term stock market trader and to have longevity in the whole, stock market trading world. So for those of you guys that are new to my channel, my name is Stas, and I make videos dealing with swing trading, day trading, long-term investing, and my personal philosophies and strategies when it comes down to investing and trading in the stock market. So for those of you guys that want to learn more about that, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and join our Discord group chat as well as our Facebook group, and follow me on Instagram, guys. And if you want to be in touch with our community throughout the entire day, talking about stocks, trading, news, strategies, and talk to me throughout the day, throughout the market open, make sure to get into that Discord group chat. That's the best way to keep in contact with me throughout the day, as well as a bunch of other people that are in that group. I think we're almost to about 180 members in that Discord group chat, so make sure to get into all those platforms. They're all linked down below in the description box. So before we talk about my scalp trade on AMD, I want to talk about what the overall markets were looking like today. So starting off with the Dow Jones, guys, we had a pretty solid day, up about 400 points, up 1.63% to close off the day today. So still downtrending, guys, in terms of the Dow Jones. No signs of a reversal in terms of the Dow Jones, but, what we want to look out for here is if we break out of this downwards trend right here. Let me show you guys by this trend line that I'm going to draw. So we notice we saw some resurgence this day. We saw some push up in the Dow Jones, got rejected here, pushed down, got rejected again, pushed all the way down, got rejected again, pushed down to a lower low, meaning that it's continuing this downtrending pattern. And now we're pushing up back here to this point of the trend line. So tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, to analyze the markets in terms of, are we going to push out of this trend, this downwards trend that the Dow Jones has been in over the past couple of trading days, or are we going to, continue to push down in price, continue this bearish, sentiment that we've been seeing in the markets, and get rejected here and push down for another lower low. So it's going to be interesting to see, guys, what ends up happening, tomorrow, because we've seen the pattern of selling off to lower lows, recovering a little bit, then selling off to, lower lows again. So if that happens tomorrow, guys, we're going to talk about some ETFs that are going to be very good plays. So now to look over here to the S&P 500, up about 1.8%, up about $50 on the close, and the same thing as the Dow Jones, guys. It's still on this downwards trending pattern. Right, we've been seeing it's pushing down, making lower lows. Now we're seeing it's coming back a little bit. We're seeing some recovery. So what to keep an eye on tomorrow for the S&P 500 is whether it's or not it's going to break out of this trend line that I drew, which would be a very good sign of a reversal pattern, or if it's going to get rejected here, push down in price, and continue the lower lows that it's been making over the past couple of weeks. So looking over to the Nasdaq here, guys, this is a Nasdaq future that we're looking at, and the same thing applies to the Nasdaq, right? We noticed that lower lows, pushing down, showing little signs of recovery, then getting rejected and shooting back down in price again. And that's exactly what's ended up happening in the Nasdaq, down 0.5% right now, down about minus $37, $38 on the day. So we saw some recovery in the Dow and the S&P, and, we want to see a break out of those trend lines that I showed you guys for a reversal pattern in, the major markets. So that's what the major markets are looking like as of now, guys. And let's talk quickly about what trades I made today. I was honestly done trading within an hour and a half, 2 hours of the market open today, and I took a little position in drip a little bit later on, and I ended up cutting my losses there. It hit my stop loss at about $6 or $8.60 actually, but we'll talk about that at the end. So AMD, guys, showed a ton of volume today early on in the early on in the markets. And we saw a bunch of the big name stocks reported earnings yesterday. Tesla actually reported a profit. Elon Musk, shocked Wall Street pretty much. No one expected Tesla to be profitable, this quarter right here, but they came out, guys. They beat analyst expectations by about, I think, $3 per share, which was absolutely ridiculous. We saw how bananas Tesla stock went. And then we also saw AMD report earnings yesterday. I believe their revenue missed. Don't quote me on that because I was looking at a bunch of different earnings reports, but I do believe their earnings per share actually topped the estimates by a very, very small percent. But where I ended up trading AMD, guys, now that we're on the topic of AMD, today we saw some ridiculous volume in early on in the day. AMD went from 1826 all the way to $20 pretty much. And I ended up scalping AMD for a decent gain early on in the morning. So we saw it opened up a little bit, sold off, then it shot up, broke above the 50 SMA, the EMA here, and then the 180 SMA. Then we noticed the massive shoot up to about $19.16. So I didn't get in during this big spike up, this big $1.20 spike up in AMD, but what I waited for is the pullback in AMD. So when I noticed that it was pulling back at $19-ish, and then I realized that it was holding above the EMA right here, guys, right? And then when it bounced here and started to push up in price, I ended up taking a position. And this is pretty much called, a scalp trade. You're hopping in on the pullbacks, on the bounces of on the EMA line or whatever indicators you're watching. So, in this particular case, guys, it was the EMA line. It bounced here. I got in at about $19.15. I scaled into this position a little bit, added more right around here. And then I ended up selling off at about, $20-ish. Maybe it was like $19.98. And I got a decent gain on this, particular day trade. Very quick, guys. You can see I got in at about 9:45, got out at about 9:50. This was literally like a 7-minute trade. So in and out, very quick profits there. Pretty much almost got to my daily goal in terms of profits, which is around $200 for those of you guys that have been asking me. And with that one trade in terms of AMD. So another trade that I ended up taking today was in Microsoft. They also reported earnings yesterday. Very solid earnings. I believe they beat earnings per share by about 19%. They beat the analyst estimates by about 19%. So that was actually a very good sign in terms of MSFT Microsoft stock. So kind of the same thing with AMD in terms of Microsoft. We opened up with very high volume in terms of Microsoft stock. We popped up, pulled back a little bit, ended up holding on the EMA, and started to push up in price. And this is actually where I ended up taking my position right around $107. I held it through this point here about $109. We pulled back at 107 here. Ended up adding a little bit more money, and I'm actually still holding on to these shares, up about $1 per share, on my position in terms of Microsoft, and I do plan on swinging these shares. This is probably going to be a 1 to 2 month swing trade for me, depending on how everything ends up going. So I ended up taking a loss on my drip trade, and this is where we're going to end up talking about why conserving capital in trading stocks is very important. So I ended up taking a trade on drip at about $8.70. I believe I got in, where was it? I ended up getting in right here, possibly at about $8.70. Wrote it up here. I didn't take any profits. Then I ended up cutting my losses at about $8.60. Right around here, it ended up hitting my stop loss. I set a stop loss from about $8.70 down to about $86 or $8.60. That's actually a 1.12% stop loss, and I usually keep my stop losses a little bit tighter on these inverse ETFs, these very volatile ETFs, like the drips, the gush, LABU, LABD, DGAS, and UGAS. These are leveraged ETFs, so they end up moving very quickly. They're very volatile, and I cut my losses there, and what do we see, guys? It went down all the way to $8.40. So if I didn't cut my losses, I would have been down about 3-4% on this particular position. And now, to talk about a little bit why conserving capital as a trader is very important, it's because, you need capital to trade. As crazy, I mean, as stupid as that sounds, as obvious as that sounds, guys, you need capital. And if you're taking loss after loss without setting a stop loss, which is the most important thing in conserving your capital, guys, is you must set stop losses. If you keep taking these losses without stop losses, you're going to lose your confidence, guys. You're going to lose your money first, right? You're going to lose all your money pretty much, and you're going to lose your confidence on top of that, and you're never going to be a successful trader, guys. You have to conserve your capital by setting stop losses, and if it hits the stop loss, guys, and you end up, losing a little bit of money, what can you do from here? You can just re-enter at a better position, at a better price point, or focus on the next trade. So, without conserving capital, guys, you're just going to end up running yourself out of money and running yourself out of this whole, trading stocks game in the stock market. So, number one rule, guys, is set a stop loss at about 1 to 2 to even 3%, depending on how risk tolerant you are, and stick to that religiously, on every single trade that you make. Therefore, you can conserve your capital to the fullest and, make sure you don't lose a ton of money and focus on growing your account this way. So those are the 3 trades that I ended up taking today. I took a little loss on drip, very minimal loss there. My trade on AMD pretty much obviously was more than that little loss on drip. So I ended up getting, very close to my $200 profit goal today in terms of my trading, and I'm very happy with that, guys. Some days I don't hit the $200 profit, some days I'm above that, and then some days I'm obviously at a loss. But this is what happens when you're trading in the stock market, and being consistent, guys, setting stop losses and conserving that capital is the most important thing. So some other stocks that were pretty good plays today. DGAS had some decent movement today. It was very volatile, guys. We saw it opened up at about $14, and then once that gas report hit, it spiked up to $15.20. Then it sold off all the way back down to about $14.20. And there was a bunch of opportunity here if you were looking to day trade, some of the natural gas ETFs. So decent movement today in Apple. We saw it went from about 217 up to about 221. Not too crazy there, but very decent movement in terms of Apple. And we just saw a bunch of the big large cap stocks recover today. We saw Netflix come back about 3% today. We saw Google come back a little bit, $44 per share, although it did crash. Well, not crash, or sold off after market hours. A bunch of the stocks actually sold off after market hours. We see Facebook had a pretty good run back up to 152 from lows of about 147, and this one as well fell back down to about 147 where it ended up starting off the day at. So I'm not too sure why stocks are selling off after market hours, but, it looks like a bunch of them actually are. Boeing today had a decent day, decent move in terms of their, Amazon stock, solid day from $1,700 up to $1,800, but then it actually fell down all the way down to about $1,615. Tesla, guys, is a big one that I'm actually looking to take a small position in as my speculative stock in my long-term portfolio. Now that they reported those quarter 3 profits, or what quarter was it, guys? My mind is just jumbled. I've had a long day, but they just reported profits, which was very unexpected. Like I said earlier on in this video. This is a very good sign for me as a long-term believer of Tesla and as a potential investor that Tesla is heading into the right direction and they're going to be profitable from now on, especially with this affordable Model 3 coming in. I'm very interested in adding money into Tesla as a long-term investment as of now. So, markets, guys, today up $400, and, tomorrow, if we do see a pullback in the markets, I'm going to be looking to play TVIX heavily tomorrow because, according to the trend, guys, like I said, if we're looking at this trend line on the, the 20-day chart, if we do bounce here or if we do get rejected here and continue to push down, tomorrow is going to be a very good day to play TVIX, which is a stock or an ETF that goes up when the markets are going down in price. So for tomorrow, guys, I'm going to be watching these, the drip, watching DRIP very closely as a re-entry, possibly if it does hold above the EMA line. I'm going to be watching UGAS very closely as well to see if it ends up holding above the support at around $80 to $82. And I'm going to be looking to potentially trade Tesla and maybe hop into TVIX and or QQQ, which is the ETF that goes up when the markets go up if we do end up breaking out of that trend in the markets and start to shoot up in price. But if we get rejected, guys, like I said, in the overall markets, I'm going to be watching to play TVIX. So sorry for the later upload today. I'm very busy today, like I said. Didn't get to record the video until right now at about 8 p.m. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and join our Discord community as well as our Facebook group. All of those are linked down below in the description box. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great day today. Peace out.